Well, hello everyone. My name is John Cottrell, and this is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute yoga practice, and it's a gentle yoga practice, which means that we just move a little slower, take our time, just be very gentle and kind to our own bodies. And so for this practice, like every practice that we do together, we use props. And so if you have these items, go ahead and grab them. A blanket, just for something soft to sit on and also kneel on. And also for your hands and your wrists, just to protect your joints. If you happen to have a couple of yoga blocks or just something that's kind of like stackable maybe, or like some big books, that might work for your practice as well. And maybe a big pillow. I have a yoga bolster, but if you have a big cushion or a bolster, that can come in handy for your practice today. And we're going to need a strap, or just a yoga strap, or some kind of belt, a jump rope, anything like that. For your practice. And so that's all we'll need. And so I invite you just to find a comfortable seat, perhaps just on your mat or just something soft just to prop yourself up. And we'll begin our practice, and I'll discuss our intention for our practice. Feel free to cross your legs. This is comfortable for me, but you don't have to cross your legs if it feels more comfortable. Perhaps to extend your legs, or even sit in a chair for the first portion of this. Please feel free. I want you to feel comfortable. And you're invited also to close your eyes or just soften your eyes. As you do so, start to tune into your breath. You might start with a deep breath in and a slow breath out, just to bring yourself to an awareness of your breath. And then just continue with slow breathing in and out. Just feel the sensation of your breath as it moves through you. And maybe turn up the volume of your breath so you can listen to that oceanic sound. This is an opportunity for you to move inside of yourself. And that really is our intention for our practice today. To focus on yourself. Some introspection. And in that introspection, to honor yourself, to honor and praise yourself. It's probably something that we don't do very often at all. Sometimes we get into the habit of criticizing ourselves or even judging ourselves. That certainly isn't kind to ourselves. That really goes against the principle ahimsa. Ahimsa means nonviolence. That even means towards yourself. That's really the basis of our soft flow practice, so that we can treat ourselves with love and kindness and gentleness. So let's just really emphasize that notion, that truth. Take the time in your practice to honor and praise yourself. If you're able, just breathe a little slower, a little deeper. So all you have to do is just breathe longer. Take a nice long breath in. And maybe feel your breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. Then a slow and controlled exhale. You might draw your navel inward towards your spine. Just a light contraction of your abdominal muscles. Just something that's a little bit engaging. Just the awareness of your center. We call this the center body. So again, breathing in so you feel the lifting and lengthening of your spine. You might sit up a little taller in your seat. And again, breath rising, expanding your lungs, opening your heart. As you exhale, draw navel inward towards your spine. It doesn't have to be too strong or forceful. Just that light drawing inward so you can feel your center body. And just take 3 more breaths like this as we move inward, this introspection. The next part of our practice is our moving meditation. So we just add a little movement to the breath. So whenever you're ready, and take a nice full breath in, extend your arms outward and let them float upward towards the ceiling. A nice big stretch here at the top. And exhale, extend your arms outward, and let them float back down as you're exhaling, finishing the whole breath Our arms come down by your side. And again, inhale, extend your arms out. Just reach with some effort as if you're going to touch each wall on either side of you. Reach up to touch the ceiling. Exhale, draw navel inward towards your spine, and let's float the arms back down. Now just continue to breathe and move at your own pace. You don't have to necessarily follow me. Just follow your own breath. And as you're able, allow the breath to move you. As you breathe, the movement follows. You're probably breathing slowly, thereby moving in slow motion. So feel the sensations that arise in your body as you're moving slowly like this. Certainly feel sensation in your shoulders as you reach out and up, reach for the ceiling. You might feel a lengthening or a stretch quality down through the sides of your body. Feel the energy in your hands and fingers. Now go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Feel your breath. Listen to the sound of your breath. Feel the sensations in your body. When you're complete, just bring your arms down by your side. You can even just let your hands just rest in your lap. And notice how your body now shifts from being engaged and in motion to now being still, quiet. We'll still see that. Just bring your hands behind you. I just turned sideways so you can see this. You're going to lean back into your palms or even just your fingertips. So with the arms behind you, you can send the shoulders back a little bit. This just opens up through your chest. You might even tip your chin up just slightly, so you might be looking more upward rather than directly forward. This is a mild back bend. We're going to continue our breath work. As you inhale, press into the floor behind you with your hands. Breathe in deeply and feel your breath rise to fill up your lungs, very expansively. Then your exhale, still drawing your navel inward towards your spine, contracting the abdominal muscles. Taking another breath in when you're ready, filling up your lungs. Feel as if it's like a balloon expanding with air. When you exhale, connect to your center in front, but also if you can, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you, just engaging your upper back muscles. Let's hold here for about 2 more breaths. And feeling a little bit more sensation in your body. A lot is going on in this back bend posture. And when you're complete, just lower your chin, walk your hands towards yourself, sitting up a little taller. We'll go ahead and inhale, extend your arms into the air once again for that nice re-lengthening of the spine and lengthening of your torso. Then exhale, just bring your hands back down by your side. That same shift of your body from movement to stillness. And here, if your legs happen to be crossed, go ahead and uncross your legs. Maybe press the soles of your feet together. If this is a little bit too much pressure on the knees, if you can't really bend your knees in this fashion, you might just maybe step your feet forward way out front so you have more of a 90-degree angle in the knees and legs right here. Or if it feels okay, go ahead and draw the feet in closer. If the legs are a little high away from the ground, this is where you can use those books or blocks if you want, or pillows even, and just let your legs just kind of rest on those objects. Here with your hands just holding onto your feet or your toes or just your shins or ankles, sitting up very tall. We're going to take a nice forward fold, but very gently. Inhale, feel as tall as can be. As you exhale, let's draw belly in. Start to hinge forward from your hips, leading with your heart and your chin just a little bit. You can see I didn't move very far at all. These are very incremental, very small, gentle movements. But the breath is big, so we'll take another big breath in. Fill up your lungs, feel long in your torso. Exhale, pull belly in, and then hinge forward a tiny bit more. You can go as far as you'd like, but knowing that you don't have to go far at all. Just enough where you feel a sensation perhaps in your inner thighs. And that's one of the intentions of this particular pose, cobbler's pose. Now you're very welcome to go a little deeper, but that might mean lowering your chin a little bit and even rounding your back. So that's perfectly fine here too. And as you do so, notice these new sensations in your body. Maybe in your neck, the curvature in the spine, that's now maybe creating a nice stretch through your whole back body. And we'll hold here for several breaths because this is one of our honoring postures. Many of our poses today will be folding forward. And in some cases in yoga, it refers to bowing. In this case, bowing to yourself and honoring of yourself. Whenever you find yourself in a pose like this, like I said, we'll do several of these. We'll hold and just go inside. Maybe think about just maybe your own strengths or talents, accomplishments, achievements, things you've done, things you're proud of, things you love about yourself. Take 3 more slow breaths. Take your time. You can stay here as long as you'd like. There's no rush to move. And when you are ready to move, you might just lift your head and look forward a little bit. That will start the re-extension of your spine. And maybe placing hands on the mat just help press and lift yourself up until you're nice and tall in your seat again. And maybe just hold for a few more breaths, just completing that little series. And then when you're set, we're just going to move our props out of the way. We're going to swing the legs around. We're going to come to our hands and knees. And this is where you might want to have some padding underneath you. And this is really just an option, but if it feels good to rest your knees on something soft as well as your wrists, this feels quite nice. Or you might even just fold your mat, just creating a little bit more cushion. So you'll come to this tabletop posture. We'll add 2 poses that flow together. Captain, cow. It starts with cow. It's an inhale where you'll lift your head, looking forward, a little arch in the back. It's a little back bend movement. Then exhale, let's round it all out. Chin towards chest, belly button pulls up towards spine. Inhale, let's reverse it. Let's tip the pelvis back. Your belly might drop a little bit. Heart opens and you look forward. Exhale, round it all out. Tucking your tailbone underneath, curving in the spine, chin to chest, and just continue to flow through these 2 postures. Even here, the movement doesn't have to be very big. The back bend doesn't have to be too forced. You don't have to round the back too much. Just this gentle flow. Just getting this nice undulation through your spine, some movement through your pelvis, just to help loosen up in this gentle way. I think our soft flow practice is really about honoring yourself because we're taking care of ourselves within the practice, the whole practice. We're not forcing, we're not pushing, we're not trying to go too fast. And your body, even your mind, can be very appreciative of this. Finish this last breath and take 2 more. Flowing through these 2 poses. And then come back to a tabletop posture. Just pause here for a moment. Let's take another bowing pose, very familiar to you perhaps. First, we're just going to take the knees a little wider on your mat or blanket and then just sit back. Send your hips down towards your heels. They don't have to touch the heels. We're just moving into child's pose. You might extend your arms out or feel like you're crawling forward. And if you can, maybe rest your forehead directly down on your mat. We need a little bit of a lift. You can use a couple of blocks, something like this. Maybe rest your forehead on a block or even a pillow. Let's just hold here for a moment and just continue that inventory of self-love, self-accomplishments, all the things you've been achieved, that you have achieved, your traits, your strengths, your talents. As if you're just making a list. Just run down that list or just keep adding to that list. And each time we come back to these bowing, honoring poses, just keep referring back to that list. Let's take 3 more breaths. Moving slowly and gently, let's rise back up onto hands and knees. Let's move our props to the side, including the blanket. So you might sit back or just crawl off of your blanket if you're using one. Let's just set it off to the side. You can use it at any time if you need some cushioning. Then return to hands and knees. Let's get ready for our next pose, which is downward facing dog. So you'll step your hands forward so your wrists are no longer underneath your shoulders. You have kind of an angle like this. And spread out your fingers pretty wide. So you get a stretch between each finger, and then kind of lean or press into your hands so your palms go flat as possible on your mat. As you push, feel the energy and strength and length in your arms. Keep that momentum or keep that strength. Tuck your toes behind you. We'll take cat and cow again. So inhale for cow, looking forward, arching the back slightly. Exhale, round it all out into cat. Hold cat. Hold, and then lift your knees off your mat and send your hips up into the air. This is downward facing dog. You might need to adjust by stepping your feet forward a little bit. We're not going to be here too long. A little bend of the knees. Still pressing firmly into the mat with your hands. Nice strong arms and upper body. Now look forward at the top of your mat and just start walking forward as best as you can until your feet are either underneath you or at least flat on the mat. Something like this. You'll be in a deep forward fold. This is another bowing posture. We're going to hold this, but not just yet. We're going to inhale, slide your hands up to the knees or thighs, extending your spine. So you're like a table right here. Exhale, we'll fold. We're going to keep this moving. Go ahead and start shifting your weight back into your heels. You'll kind of lean back a little bit. Bend your knees and feel your hips drop like you're sitting down in a really low chair. Look forward, that should extend your spine. Then take your arms out to the side. Then press feet firmly into the floor, straighten your legs so you're starting to stand up tall. Reach up into the air so you have a stretch and a lengthening through the body. As you exhale, sweep your arms out and down by your side. And we finish here in mountain pose. And once you're here, let's keep this fairly active. Let's just turn the palms open, which is actually an opening of the shoulder. You're doing this thing called an outer spiral or an outer rotation of your arms. It opens the shoulders, which really opens up through your chest here. Let's just hold here for a moment. Now this may not be a bowing position, but it's a very strong posture where you can still do introspection, just moving inside of self. Take a couple more breaths. We're going to do our half salute again, which means we'll fold forward and come back up. But we're going to hold that forward fold, that bowing posture. And you might want to have, as we get down, you might even want to bring in some blocks in front of you, or even a chair if you don't want to fold too deeply. You'll just rest your hands on the seat of a chair. So here we go. Inhale, extend your arms into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bring your arms out to the side, bend your knees and sit back as if there was a chair behind you that you're sitting into. Coming down, bending the knees, getting a little lower. Let your hands drop either to the seat of the chair or even anywhere along your legs. You might even fold enough where you can touch your toes. Keeping the knees soft. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs. Let's re-extend the spine. We're going to exhale and fold. Now we're going to hold this. Now I'm only going to fold partially. This feels just right for me. And again, you can just rest your hands on your shins or anywhere along your legs. Need a little bit more balance. I've got a couple of blocks. I'm just going to just rest my hands on the blocks. Just do something like this. And even relax your head and neck. So this is our forward fold. I'm just doing a variation of the pose. You can be up as high as you need to or as low as it feels right for you. Go back to your list, your inventory. This opportunity for stillness and silence to run down that list of talents and strengths. Very aware of this bowing sensation, knowing by going down your personal list, you're honoring yourself. Let's take 2 more breaths. Stay in your fold. If you're using some props, just set them to the side. We're just going to keep bending the knees. Let your hips drop. And if you can, just bring your hands right down to the mat. We're just going to go right into our sun salute. Hands on the mat. Let's just step back or walk back into plank pose. And since we're in that forward fold for a long time, this is a great opportunity to re-lengthen through the legs, through your spine, but also build strength. Let's breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees slightly as if you're going to kneel down, but then send your hips into the air. This is our return to downward facing dog. A little tiptoe forward once again. So your hips are a little higher. Your feet and hands feel like they're in a good spot so you don't feel like you're going to slip or fall. We're going to continue with our flow here. So when you inhale, lift your right foot and extend your right leg back. Just reaching back towards the wall behind you. You're going to exhale, bend this right knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest as you shift your upper body forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. Go ahead and just set the right set of toes down onto the mat. And it doesn't matter where they land because you'll set your left knee onto the mat like this. Just kneel down. And reach back and pick up your right foot and just place it up a little higher on your mat next to your fingers. Let's re-lift that left knee. Now your weight is probably forward. We want to send the hips back towards the back edge of your mat. So we establish a balance in the body and then actually taking weight off the hands. So you can see here, I call this sweeping the floor. So your fingertips don't need to, or your hands don't need to touch the ground at all. Then walk both of your hands up to your thigh, press into your thigh so you can lift up to about 45 degrees so you can get a little bit more extension through the spine. And with that back leg, just push the heel back so it feels like an anchor. Since we're in this balancing pose. For more stability, squeeze inner thighs towards each other and pull belly in. Then we'll sweep the arms out and up as you rise up. So you're perpendicular to the ground, reach into the air, and when you exhale, just lunge a little deeper. We're going to hold here for just a couple of seconds. So that's a nice deep lunge. Then we'll inhale, lift a little, so we can actually pivot or turn that whole back leg so your heel is on the ground. You'll turn sideways, and then bring your arms down to parallel. And just a nice reaching sensation across the room. So your arms are here parallel to the ground. Nice knee bend in front. Now start reaching forward. Follow your right arm forward to angle the upper half of your body. Then rotate your arms. So your right arm is reaching down and left arm is reaching up into the air. I kind of think of this like big doors, 2 doors that kind of swing open like that, and to reveal and open your heart. Let's take a breath in. And we'll exhale, we'll carefully turn towards the floor, bend carefully so you can bring your hands down to the mat. Just rise back up onto the tiptoes behind you, which just evens out the body. Now stay here because we're going to do something a little different. Now the weight is probably centered, but we need to start shifting the weight forward again towards this right foot and your hands. I'm just kind of wiggling it, I'm a little hopping. I'm just hopping this left foot kind of forward so my weight is more forward. Just enough where I can easily just step this left foot forward next to the other. So I've returned to that forward fold. From here, lean back gently into your heels. Bend your knees. Feel like you're sitting down. Look forward. Take your arms out to the side. Let's go ahead and stand up once again. Reach into the air, re-lengthening through the entire body. Exhale, bring your arms back down by your side. We're going to spin the hands forward. The same outer spiral, yes, of your shoulders, opening up through the chest. We're going to do something here before we get to the other side. We're going to do a little shoulder work here too. I'm just going to turn around so you can see this. So from here, just follow me. You're going to extend your arms into the air. Exhale, sweep your arms back down in slow motion. And as they come down, start reaching behind you as if you're reaching for the back corners of your mat. We stand this way so you can see. So I'm just reaching back for the back corners. Palms open, wide, very expressive. And even imagine you're squeezing or holding on to something behind you, like a box behind you. Now stay like this, or if you're able, interlace your fingers behind you. This is an option. You don't have to do this. And if you're here, if you're able, extend your arms, feeling your knuckles reach towards the floor. Now if your arms don't straighten, and it's okay if they don't, you keep your elbows bent like that. That might even feel better on your joints, so your shoulders and your elbows. We still want to feel like the shoulders are drawn back, heart is open, keep your gaze forward. We're going to do a minor bowing sensation with hands behind you, either fingers folded or just reaching. Bend your knees and let them jet forward a little bit like this, and then tip over about here, and we're at 45 degrees or so in this chair-like posture. So we haven't folded forward completely, but it's still kind of a minor bowing sensation with the idea that we're opening our hearts. And I think this is a nice position to be in as we continue down our inventory or keep adding to that personal list. Your heart is open, receiving, acknowledging all those wonderful things about you. I'm not going to be here too much longer. It's going to be quite sensational around the joints. Let's go ahead and stand up tall, release the fingers if they're folded. Let's reach up into the air again. Then exhale, bring the arms back down by your side. Now, since that's a lot of sensation around the shoulders, you might want to take a moment just to kind of shake this out. You might want to, there you go, roll your shoulders, roll them backward, roll them forward, both at the same time, or do one at a time, like you're doing like a freestyle stroking sensation in the pool. Rotate the wrists, wiggle your fingers, even a little circle through the elbows, just to kind of loosen up the joints again. Very nice. All right, let's return to mountain pose, and we have a whole other side to do. We haven't gotten to the other side yet. So back to mountain pose. When you're ready, inhale, extend your arms into the air. Exhale, sweep the arms out and down, bend your knees, sit back and down into the imaginary chair. Let the hands drop, let your head drop. Remember, this can be a partial fold. You never need to touch your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine, that tabletop position. We're going to exhale, folding very carefully, bending the knees so you can place your palms on the mat. Lean into the hands a little bit so you can start stepping back carefully until you're in that long straight line plank pose. Also our strength posture. Remember to add that word to your list. You are strong. Breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air, downward facing dog. Little tiptoe forward. Heart is open in this pose, especially if you allow it to sink a little bit towards the floor. Other side. Inhale now, extend your left leg up into the air. Don't worry about how high it goes because it doesn't have to lift very high at all. As you exhale, bend your left knee. Bring your knee in underneath you towards your chest, shifting your body weight forward. Shoulders are over the wrist. Once you've hit that spot, just set your toes, left set of toes on the ground. Then set your right knee on the ground. Reach back with left hand, grab the ankle, and just step your left foot higher up onto your mat. Let's relift the right knee. Weight is probably forward, so pull the hips back towards the back edge of your mat. Let me just pause here. I don't know if you can see me, but you want to feel your hip bone. Feel it's very centered. It's right between the feet here. I'm just trying to draw a line right there so you can see that. So you can rise up to fingertips pretty easily and do that little sweep. Then maybe hands up onto your thigh. Press into the thigh to lift up to 45 degrees, feeling more extension through your spine. Feel that right heel activate by pressing back to create your anchor. And squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Should strengthen and fire up your leg muscles. Pull belly in, sweep your arms out, rise up, reach up. You might lift a little and then sink a little. And there's our lunge, just holding for a few seconds. We're going to inhale, lift a little so you can turn sideways, bringing that right heel to the floor so your feet are firm on the ground. Drop your arms down to parallel, reaching. Even take a look. I always do this. I take a look at both hands just to make sure my arms are level, because sometimes one arm, especially that back arm, tends to drop like that. So level. Now we'll follow the left arm forward, angled upper body, doesn't have to go too far at all. Rotate your arms, here's our side angle pose, where you're opening those big doors to open your heart. If you're a very giving person, very generous. Just breathe in. Exhale, carefully turn. Just bring the hands back down to the mat. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you and do the exact same thing. We're just going to step forward. We need to get the weight forward. So I'm just kind of hopping a little bit, just getting this right foot farther forward so I have more weight in my hands and left foot. So I can then just step this right foot up to the top of the mat. We'll return to the forward fold, maybe just for 2 breaths here. It's a deep pose, but if you need to, you can always slide up the legs a little. Then ready to stand. We're just going to lean back into the heels, bend your knees, let your hips drop, look forward, extend your arms out, inhale, let's rise, stand tall, reach up high. There it is. Exhale, bring your arms back down by your side. Let's just pause here for a couple of breaths. Notice and feel your breathing. Wonderful. All right, we're going to flow again and just make our way down to the ground. Moving at your own pace. Inhale, extend your arms into the air. Let's exhale and fold forward. Take your time. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, forming your long tabletop. Exhale, bend your knees enough to fold, bend, bring your hands to the ground. Lean into your hands so you can walk both of your feet back. And a nice return to our plank pose. Hold. We're going to hold it just a tiny bit longer. Good strength building. And now just go ahead and bring your knees to the floor. We're going to sit back. We're going to sit down. So we're just going to do some work on the floor. So this is a brief hero. If you can sit here, but you don't have to. But we're going to immediately come out of it anyway. Just slide off the feet so you can sit down and swing the legs around to the front. We're going to be in this position for a little bit. It's going to start with a staff pose, which I'll break down, and then we're going to fold forward. So you might want to use some props here. One, you might want to use your strap for the forward fold. And I like to use a blanket because when I sit flat on the ground like this, it takes a lot of effort to sit up tall, and I feel a strain in my back, and that doesn't feel all that great. And so what you can do, if that's your condition, you can sit up on something like a soft blanket, and if you do, just sit kind of on the edge of it. And what it does is, if you kind of feel like you're slipping off the blanket a little bit, it tilts the pelvis just enough, so it allows you to give more space in the low back and maybe even sit up a little taller. You can sit up as high as you'd like. It's always kind of nice to have the hips a little higher than your knees. And if you are sitting up kind of high, that means the legs may not, the backside of the knees don't touch the floor. So if that's the case, maybe a couple of blocks or even a pillow or a couple of small sofa pillows underneath your knees, something like this. And so once you've kind of got it all comfortable, we're going to do our staff pose. So just sit up nice and tall. You might flex your feet. So your legs might be absolutely straight on the floor or using some cushions underneath. Your hands will just come down to the mat or your blanket or whatever you're sitting on next to your hip bones. Push into the floor to assist your own torso to sit up nice and tall. Once there, go ahead and roll the shoulders back, squeezing shoulder blades together behind you. And once again, just open your heart. Just a couple of breaths here, just a very activated pose, but in a neutral position. So we're not bending or twisting or anything like that. Take one more breath. And then kind of relax here in the seat. We're going to take our forward fold, and feel free to use a strap to take your forward fold. I'm going to add one more prop, and this is again an option, because we're going to hold this forward fold for a little bit. And it might be like a pillow. I'm just going to use my bolster here just to demonstrate. So we're going to fold, and you can just kind of drape yourself over something, and it might just be a little bit more comfortable since we're going to hold the posture. So you might have a big pillow across your lap. Get your strap. We're going to wrap it around the feet. We're using every single prop that we've got here today. We got a hold of the strap. We're going to inhale. Actually, just pull the strap a little bit, and that should help you extend the spine. Just kind of pull forward and lift you up. That's our inhale. Exhale, pull belly in and pull strap a little bit to send your heart forward. Again, it's tiny movements. Pause there. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine at this new angle. Exhale, start to fold. Remember, you're leading with your heart and chin initially. And just take your time. Just go at your own pace. You may not even need the straps, especially if you've got this bolster or pillow across your lap. You can always release or modify your body or modify your poses in any way. Lower your chin, let your torso just kind of drape over the bolster if you'd like. I'm going to release my strap and even just let my hands kind of rest on my legs here because it just feels a little bit more relaxed at the moment. The strap can just be used just to initially get into the pose. So this is just seated forward fold, a very basic posture. Just breathing in and out in this honoring position. Return to your personal inventory, introspection, continue to move inside of self. If you're able, think of 3 things that you have not put on your personal list. The 3 more things that describe you or things that you've done to add to your list. Sometimes we can feel embarrassed or ashamed sometimes when we think about all the good things about ourselves. It may feel like you're bragging or just being egotistical. Let all of that go. This is just about acknowledging just very important and positive good things about yourself. And embracing those truths. 3 more breaths here. After your 3rd breath, just take our time to get out of the pose, especially since you have all these props. Let's just start by lifting your head. Just maybe looking forward. You can soften your eyes or just keep your eyes closed if you like. And start to rise up, even if your back is still a little rounded or curved. Just kind of roll your way back up. Getting as tall as can be. Hold for a moment. Start to slowly remove the props. So if you've got that strap still wrapped around your feet, you can set that to the side. Pillows to the side. Keep all these handy. They can be used again. If you got those pillows or blocks underneath your knees. Let's go ahead and return to cobbler's pose. You can still be sitting on your cushion here. Let's come back to cobbler's pose, which we did earlier. We did a forward fold the first time, but let's do a little back bend feel the second time. So you're going to bring the hands behind you. Press, lift chin, open the heart, let the knees open. 2 more breaths. And then lower your chin, walk your hands towards yourself, maybe just bring your hands back to your shins and just hold here for a moment. We're going to move into a little segment that's going to raise the energy a little bit in our bodies. Our first pose is boat pose, which we do here on the mat. But I have a variation of the pose that we can do. So you can still stay seated on your soft cushion, but for this one I'm going to slide forward, just sitting directly on the mat. You're going to bring your knees together, just step your feet forward. You're still going to keep a really good bend in the knees like this. Keep your heels on the ground with your feet flexed. And then hold on underneath the knees, and I like to call this is your handlebar. Your handlebars, like on a bicycle. and hold on. And just like you were holding onto the strap earlier, you hold onto your legs in the same way and pull to help sit up as tall as can be. Yes, lengthening through your spine. Exhale to engage so you can lock that position. Staying tall, straight, and strong. Now, you're going to start to lean back just a little bit so we have more of an angle in the upper body. Keep the chin slightly lifted so your gaze is somewhat upward. This is both pose, but it's a variation. You can stay just like this. Now, you're certainly welcome maybe to lean back a little bit more. You can keep the heels on the ground for this, but the more that you lean back, the more energy is needed to help engage and hold center body. And we want to keep breathing deeply. So wherever you are, you want to inhale for a good lengthened spine. Exhale, engage, draw belly in. Very good core strengthening posture, even with feet on the ground. And I like doing it with feet on the ground because you can probably actually hold the pose longer, as opposed to maybe leaning back more and lifting the feet, which of course is another option. Just take one more breath. After that exhale, you might just want to rise back up and just kind of relax. All right, we're going to swing the legs around, return to hands and knees. If you have any props nearby on the mat, maybe just set them off to the side. All right, come back to your tabletop. Let's take 2 breaths, cat and cow. Inhale, look up, forward, arching the back slightly. Just round the spine. Do that one more time. Just get a little movement through the back, through your spine, the pelvis. And then just pause in this neutral tabletop position. You're going to return to down dog. So step your hands forward, spreading out your fingers, strong hands and arms. Tuck your toes. Then exhale, lift your knees and hips up into the air. And the adjustment with hands and feet is just fine. Whenever you're ready, no rush. Inhale, extend right leg up, reaching back. Exhale, bend your right knee, bring it in underneath you. Same transition, just shifting weight forward. Shoulders over wrists, set the right foot down. Set your left knee down. Pick up your right foot and place it up near your fingers. Relift that back knee. Find your center by sending your hips back. Rising so you can do the sweeping with the fingers. Hands up on thigh. We're going a little quicker, but take your time if you need to. Rise to 45 degrees. Lengthening through torso. Activate that back heel. Squeeze inner thighs. Engage belly. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Reaching up high, lunging low. As we inhale, just lift up again. Pivot open to warrior 2. There it is. Make sure your right knee and toes pointing forward. That knee is bent. Your arms are parallel. You might want to check with your arms. Now stay just like this. We're going to do something a little different. I'm just going to spin around. All right. Work with me. We're going to inhale, reach out with the arms. Let me exhale, bring the arms down behind you. Reach back, kind of similar to what we did earlier. And just reach back, shoulders roll back. Keep the arms just like this. Or if you can, interlace your fingers. I'm going to keep my hands open like this. And you're going to start turning your torso a bit towards your right knee. Kind of at an angle like this. We're going to inhale, look up. And exhale, send your heart forward and down carefully so you can bring your torso maybe parallel to the ground. Breathe in, keep reaching out through the hands. Exhale, either stay here or if you can, even go a little lower. This is called humble warrior. It's another bowing position. This is a great pose to really emphasize what we've been doing in our intention, in our practice. You are a warrior. Just know the strength you have within you and just honor that part of self. All right, let's come down. Let's bring the hands down to the ground. Let's rise up onto the tiptoes behind you. You should be in this lunge like this. Press into the floor with the hands. This time we're sliding the right foot back, so we're in plank pose. Bend your knees slightly, lift your hips into the air, and return to downward facing dog. Hold for a moment. We'll do the other side. Inhale, extend your left leg into the air. Exhale, bend your left knee, bring it in underneath you, shifting your body weight forward, shoulders are over the wrists. Set your left foot down, set your right knee down. Reach back, pick up the left foot, place it up higher. Relift the right knee. If the weight is forward, pull your hips back, finding your center. Remember, your hip bone is the center, right between the feet. Rise to fingertips, a quick sweep. Then bring hands to thigh, press to lift to 45 degrees, extend your spine, activate your anchor. That's your right heel behind you. Sweep your arms out, rise up to perpendicular, reach up, you'll lift, exhale, you'll lunge. Moving right away, inhale, lift, exhale, open, so we return to our warrior two, now on left side. Hold for a moment, we do the exact same thing. Humble warrior, inhale, reach out, exhale, that's it, bring the arms down behind you, either just reach with your hands open or interlace fingers. I'm going to interlace fingers this time. Remember, the arms can be straight or the elbows can be bent. Turn your torso, your heart, a little bit towards your left knee. Inhale, tip the chin up, just to open your heart space. Exhale, lead with your heart and start to hinge or fold forward slowly until we end up about parallel to the ground, even higher up if you reach. There's a lot of work on that front leg. Keep reaching through your fingertips behind you, or if your fingers are folded, your knuckles are reaching back. Inhale right here. You can exhale and stay here or go a little lower if you'd like. And it's okay if your torso is touching or even resting on your left thigh. You can even lower your head. Let's take just a few more breaths in this bowing, honoring of the honor of the warrior within you. Release the fingers or just bring your hands down to the mat. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press firmly into the ground with your hands. You might even lift your hips if you can, just so you can take the weight off this front foot and slide or step it back. Plank pose. Hold. More strength. That's it. Let's bring the knees to the ground. Let's take child's pose again. Let's take the knees wide and then sit back. Arms extended out front. Here's another way you can do this pose if you'd like. You can start with the arms extended out front, forehead on the ground, or on a pillow or cushion or block. And the other version is you can bring your arms and hands behind you like this, as if you're reaching for your feet. That way the shoulders and your upper back can relax. Spend a little time here, especially after those strength building postures. We did boat, we did our humble warrior positions, even ending in that strong plank pose. Again, that reminder of strength within you. I think the remainder of our practice, let's concentrate now on the softness within you, the gentleness, the kindness, the ease that you also possess. Parts of you that are loving and kind and tender. 2 more breaths here. If your arms are behind you, you may want to bring your hands up front a little bit. Just don't press to lift yourself back up. Briefly in hero, but then slide off the heels so you can sit down and swing the legs around to the front. Find the center of your mat. We're going to lie down, so we're coming to the close of our practice. And you want to have your props nearby. We still have a few more poses to do, but they're all going to be lying down. So let's go ahead and lie down here. Let's start with knees bent, feet flat on the floor, just lying flat. And take a moment to really disengage. Let the ground hold you, melt into the earth. Take a breath or two. And move into bridge pose. It's a back bend. We can do this with blocks or something to sit on. All right, so maybe grab hold of that block or whatever you have nearby. You'll inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, press into the floor with your feet to lift your hips. You don't have to lift very high, just high enough where you can slide your props underneath you and then just sit. Again, just kind of a relaxing position in this back bend variation. And again, we're not in a bowing position, but it's an open heart position. Another opportunity to Acknowledge your heart space, that you're a heartfelt person. Our next pose, and there's no rush to get into it, is an inverted posture. And you can do this while sitting on your stack of blocks or pillow, or you can just move those blocks out of the way and sit back down. In whatever position you're in, go ahead and extend your legs straight up into the air. I'm still on my block, so my hips are elevated, and then I can just extend the legs up. And again, you can do this lying flat on the mat. I think this is a good reminder of seeing things in a different way. This is certainly a different perspective of being, right? We're upside down. So I think it's a reminder that you can see things through different lenses, different perspective of things, even yourself. Feel free to add some movement here, maybe a little bend of the knees, re-extending the legs, some bicycle pedaling to get into your hips a little, whatever you might want to do or like to do or try out. Circling the ankles just to get some release in the feet, wiggling the toes. You can even take the legs out to the side, bring like a V with the legs, and then back in, crossing the legs. Again, just whatever feels good, just be creative. And that's another great word that describes you and who you are, a creative person. Take 2 more breaths. When you feel complete, you can just bend your knees to set your feet back down onto the ground. If you're using props, you press into the ground with your feet to lift your hips so you can move your blocks out of the way or whatever prop you're using, and come back down to the ground. Once you're here, go ahead and hug your knees in towards your body. Maybe a little bit more movement here if it feels good. We'll finish with a twist. We'll start by taking the knees over to the left side, extend your right arm to the right side. A nice spinal rotation. That's where it mainly occurs, but also notice what other parts of the body respond to this position. Breathing deeply. Two more breaths. If it feels good to stay in this twist a little longer, please do so. When you are ready to move, just return to center. You're going to brief pause in center. And go ahead and take your knees down to the other side, the second side of your twist. So knees to the right, left arm extends to the left. And just 2 more breaths here. Again, staying here as long as you need to if it feels just right. When you're ready to move, return to center. Set your feet onto the floor and then extend your legs out in front of you. Arms just down by your side. Now this is Shavasana. You don't have to stay in this position unless you'd like to. So this is our ending posture, Shavasana. But if you need a little bit more comfort in the body, something more supportive, this is where you might want to grab some more props. Maybe you'd like to elevate your legs or feet, or keep the knees bent, or prop up your upper body, or having something soft underneath your head. Something like this. You can even lie on your side if that feels more comfortable, or even come up to a seated posture, or return to your chair if you were using a chair in your practice at all. introspection, continue to move inside of self. Since you're in this resting position, let all of those things on your list, settle into you. Having acknowledged them and brought them to the surface. Stay right where you are. No need to move just yet. Just notice your breath while you still lie in stillness. As you've returned to the awareness of your breath, take 5 slow, deep breaths. Feel the flow and movement of your breath throughout your body. Even imagine those words, those things that you highlighted about yourself. Let them follow the breath, or allow your breath to carry those sensations, that energy, those vibrations throughout your entire system. Feel movement begin to return to your body as you're breathing. And slowly and very carefully roll to either side of your body, and pausing in that nurturing pose. And that reminder that it's good to take care of yourself, to honor and praise yourself. And here's moving as slowly as you can, rise to a seated position. No rush at all. Once you're here, just sitting up nice and tall, you can just allow your arms and hands to rest gently in your lap. You might even bring hands to heart center. On your own, take one more full breath in and a complete breath out, all a nice symbol and indication of many strengths within you, honoring self. Namaste.
Hey yogis, thank you so much for watching and practicing yoga with me. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like, thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you're alerted when I have more videos posted. Thanks for watching. Namaste.